What happens when the chosen one sees the whole board and refuses to play? Here is what a narcissist does when their target stops responding to their architecture. They escalate. They desperately repeat the same tired tactics. Escalate is a polite word for, I will now try everything I have. The problem is, the chosen one already knows everything they have. And more importantly, they've already chosen not to touch it. Let me mark the exact moment this person no longer belongs to the narcissist. It wasn't when they were hurt. The narcissist can work with hurt. Hurt still needs their attention. It wasn't when they were angry. Anger is still engagement. Engagement is still food. It was when they got quiet. Quiet, like they'd already left the conversation while their body was still in the room. Because quiet means something has happened internally that the narcissist does not have access to anymore. The agenda was not mysterious anymore. The tools were not novel anymore. The shame triggers were no longer effective because something in the chosen one's nervous system had graduated past the frequency they operated on. No apology had to be offered. No dramatic goodbye speech. Just the refusal to participate in a structure that was never built for them. This is where the narcissist system breaks down, because you can only control something that still wants to be controlled. You can only gaslight something that still needs your version of reality. Once a person stops needing the permission you were going to refuse them anyway, you have nothing. This is what happens inside the narcissist when supply cuts off. Not anger, first. Fear. See, the narcissist's entire operational system is built on, I can reach them, I can predict them, I can make them need me. Lose that, lose the thing that was holding the whole structure together. Because the narcissist doesn't actually fear the chosen one's power. They fear their own powerlessness. And powerlessness means they have to look at themselves, unmediated, unmirrored, undefended. So watch what panic does when it wears a suit. It intensifies everything. The smear campaign gets louder, not because new evidence emerged, but because the old evidence no longer landed. It needs volume now, not substance. It love bombs. It threatens. It suddenly becomes kinder. A last-ditch attempt to reestablish the frame where you still cared about their opinion. It might even get violent because violence is what you do when manipulation stops working and you're running out of moves. But here's what violence never understood about a chosen one. By the time you're throwing fists, they've already left. Physically, they're still there. But spiritually, psychologically, they're not in the room anymore. You can't hit a frequency you can't perceive. You can't manipulate someone who's already accepted the cost of your abandonment. And that acceptance, that's what the narcissist system cannot survive. Because their power was always conditional on your terror of losing them. Once you've made peace with the loss already, they're not powerful anymore. They're just loud. So let's document what happens when a chosen one refuses the structure. Smear campaigns do not land because the people who matter already know the chosen one's character. The smear is only effective on people who didn't have access to the truth anyway. Isolation attempts fail because the chosen one never built their world around the narcissist in the first place. You cannot isolate someone who is always self-sufficient. Intimidation becomes performance because the chosen one has already looked at the worst outcome, losing them, being alone, being called a liar, and chose it anyway. There is no threat left. Love bombing becomes insulting because it assumes the chosen one forgot what real love looks like. Consistent, unbothered by being questioned, not contingent on performance. And that's when the narcissist hits the real panic. They are now dealing with a person who is no longer afraid of them. Fear was the operating system. Doubt was the password. Shame was the vulnerability they coded into your nervous system. Without those, they're locked out. And that's something no tool in the narcissist's toolbox was ever designed to break. So here is what immunity looks like. It's not a superpower. It's not perfection. It's not even a victory in the way victories are usually named. It's just someone who got tired of being recruited into someone else's disease. Someone who looked at the invitation and thought, no, I don't live there anymore. The narcissist will still escalate for a while. They always do. Extinction burst is real. When a system loses its source of supply, it thrashes. But thrashing and effectiveness are not the same thing. And a chosen one who has already left is not available for either. You cannot make someone stay in a system they have spiritually exited. You cannot manipulate someone who has already grieved losing you. You cannot scare someone who has already chosen their own company over yours. You can only watch them go, and eventually, you're not even watching anymore. You were never theirs to break. Immunity is your birthright. Leave quietly. So, if you've ever watched someone lose their mind trying to reach a version of you that no longer exists, congratulations. You've graduated the lesson. Now go exist somewhere that your presence alone is enough, because that's where they can never follow. Follow for the next file. Your immunity is just the beginning. This file has been archived in your victory. POV. They spent over a decade escalating. You didn't flinch once, and now they're having a breakdown. You have immunity to watching. Keep moving forward, powerful being. Be sure to like, comment, and follow your tribe of alchemists.